Hey all you minties, this is the Uncanny Omar, and join me today as I do an overview of the Kabuki Omnibus Volume 1 and the EC Archives Modern Love hardcover from Dark Horse. So please stay tuned. So let's take a look at Kabuki from David Mack. This is Omnibus Volume 1. Or, actually, I think they're just calling it Kabuki Volume 1. Could have sworn it had the Omnibus title on there somewhere. Because if you're familiar with the way that Dark Horse does the Omnibus books, they are all soft covers in the size of standard size trade paperbacks. Now, let's take a look inside of this book. So, if you've never read Kabuki, it is a pretty interesting read about a young lady. Her code name, is Kabuki, who lives in this futuristic Japan, and she is an assassin, and she works for the government body known as the No, and that is NOH. Actually, let's see here. Here's an introduction by Brian Michael Bendis. Now they worked together at Caliber Press, and then eventually David Mack went on to draw some issues of Daredevil with Bendis, and then introducing his own character named Echo. This is dedicated to his mom, Ida Mack, 1946 to 1995. So I have a really interesting history with David Mack and Caliber Press. A friend of mine that I used to work with when I was in high school, we worked at a fast food restaurant together. His sister's boyfriend at the time was a founding member of Caliber Press, where this book was originally printed and where Brian Michael Bendis first started out. So a lot of the images that you're seeing here were originally in comic book format and printed by Caliber Press. Eventually, I think Image owned the rights, and then of course ended up at Dark Horse. So these have been printed before in oversized format as the library editions. As a matter of fact, this book right here, let's flip a little more through and get to the color stuff that I'm sure you all want to see, because the first story arc here, known as Circle of Blood, is pretty much all black and white. And then when we get to Dreams, we start seeing some of the color images, that these watercolor beautiful paintings that he is well known for. I mean, he is a phenomenal artist. The guy was so young too. But anyway, yeah, that's where I first met this crew. I was like 16 years old, hanging out with these people in their 20s creating comic books. And it was so awesome because I was like, that's what I want to do when I grow up. And either A, I never grew up, or B, damn it, I missed my chance. So here I am making videos instead. So in a way, I guess I found my way back into the comics market some way, because now I'm reviewing this, or doing an overview of this rather. So this has the exact same page count. It is 400 pages as the library edition. It's just a softcover version of it. Let's see if there's any extras in the back. Okay, so here are some notes. And then we have the cover gallery all the way back here. And he usually did painted covers. This is some of the earlier stuff that he was obviously influenced by Japanese artwork, feudal Japan. I will say, it's not a review of the book. I will say, if you've never read Kabuki, it is a trip, like a mind trip. I think even Bendis does a cover. There's a Mignola cover. Alred. I know Oming does a cover. Alex Maleev, and then some behind-the-scenes stuff. And if you've ever met David Mack, he is a really nice dude. But yeah, if you've never read this, it is a trippy, dreamlike read. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Grendel, in a way, mixed with some of that Blade Runner stuff, and yeah, throw in some Sandman. That's kind of what it probably doesn't even do it justice to describe it like that. If you've been following the channel, you know how much I love EC Comics. I'm a huge fan of Tales from the Crypt, Haunt of Fear, and Vault of Horror. Their sci-fi stuff, even their Western stuff. This is an area that I've never dove into. Like, love comics. As far as modern love stuff, yes, Spider-Man loves Mary Jane. Tons of manga that I'm a big fan of that are love-centric. But this stuff, this classic stuff, I got excited when I got this because I've never read any of this. So this is Modern Love, and it collects issues 1 through 8 of Modern Love. This is a hardcover, and it's part of their EC Archives line. Let's look at it under the dust jacket, which is practically the same thing, right? Now, the EC Archive started at Gemstone Publishing, and they were the ones that set the tone for the recolors, which I know some people have an issue with. So let's look in here, and this is what I mean by the recolors. It's modernized colors on old artwork. Because before that, the reprints were all black and white. So there is an introduction by Grant Gaisman and a foreword by Jack Nodell, talking about how when they were young, they were into these love books. Now, what did I expect to read? I expected to read this cheesy soap opera love story. Now, I've only read the first issue. And I can tell you, yes, there is that in here, but there's so much more, because I was actually surprised how quirky and funny some of this stuff is. Like, where's this? There's this dude that's kind of a douchebag. I think he's in the later stories. Because they're all short stories in here, by the way. Most of this stuff, Al Feldstein. Wally Wood is the illustrator. Graham Ingalls is one of the illustrators. So this is fully remastered for the first time. 272 pages. Now, I've only read the first issue, and like I said, it was a lot different than I was expecting. Because I'm a guy that reads EC horror, or their fantasy, or sci-fi. But some of these things in here, they were just so over the top that... And it was obviously done very tongue-in-cheek, too. It was totally done on purpose. Yeah, this one here. This one's awesome. But here. Let's look through some of this other stuff, because it looks like we have some Western stories. Then, of course, you have the ads for other EC stuff. I really hope this book sells, because I know there's a lot of obscure EC books out there that have yet to see reprints. Some Westerns and things like that. A lot lesser known books out there. So yeah, I was happy with this. And the artwork, mainly towards the beginning, by Al Feldstein, it's completely gorgeous. And of course, you got Wally Wood in here too. Who doesn't love that guy's art? Just classic storytelling. And for the most part, all love-centric, of course. Oh, this is awesome. Advice from Adrienne. Huh. So it's like readers write in letters, and it's like a Dear Abby letter column. Pretty cool. But I don't know if anybody else picked this up, so please let me know in the comments down below. I was curious to add to the EC library, and yeah, this is no different with the... It's funny to see how this was published at the same time that they had like war comics, at the same time that they had horror comics and Western comics and sci-fi and fantasy. So it's pretty cool that they had a huge range of books. Kind of missed this. I guess there are publishers that are still trying to do this. Okay, so look out for more EC archives coming out. Psychoanalysis, which comes out soon. Actually, I think at the beginning of the month. War Against Crime. Impact. I want to say, did they even finish their Tales from the Crypt? Did they go back and reprint volumes 1, 2, 3, and 4? I don't know if they did or not. I need to finish these shock and suspense stories too. That's what that reminds me to do. As far as the bookend pages, it's this nice image that you get from the book, which is very similar to what all the other EC archives are like. Now, if you're interested in either of these two books, you can purchase them from cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. Cheap Graphic Novels Black Friday sale is continuing all through December, so there's still time to save up to 95% off thousands of books. Additional books will be added throughout the month, so be sure to check back often and stay tuned to CGN on social media to be the first to know when the new books have been added to the sale. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discounts, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. Now, that was the content of each of these books. Let me know in the comments down below if you've picked these up, if you already own the Kabuki Library editions, or if you've never read anything like Modern Love. I've never read anything like that from EC, so this was a pretty interesting first-time read for me. Please don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button. Again, join us back here at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where Maddie, Tina, I, and our special guest Kristen will be discussing and reviewing Superman Birthright by Mark Waid and Lionel Francis Yu from DC Comics. And remember, if it's classy and cool, it must be near me.